I welcome you to a fresh edition of Law and You, where we talk about issues concerning the law, throw light into shady areas. And on today's edition, we are looking at the inheritance rights of women under the Nigerian legal system. And discussing this vital topic with me is a custodian of the law, a legal practitioner, and it is Matthias Obayuwana. Thanks for joining me, Matthias.
Thank you, Philip.
Let's look at this whole issue about what the women would call a gender gap, the need to close the gender gap, and that under the customary law, for instance, the Igbo customary law, the women offspring, female offspring rather, are not given entitlement to their father's property. And under this, there seems to be a kind of a setback, to the women not being allowed to enjoy such rights. Under the Nigerian legal system, can we say developments have been made to close this gap?
Of course, there have been a lot of efforts that have been made to close the gap. Women have been given, there have been legislative intervention and judicial intervention. Under our legal system, custom and tradition of our people are regarded as customary law. And this customary law, depending on the particular locality, so certain dictates do hold sway in those areas. There are some areas that they may allow a female child to inherit a limited portion, of their father's property or even their husband's property. There are some culture they don't allow you to inherit anything at all, unless you are a male. If there's no female, the property will devolve on the immediate younger brother of the deceased, who's actually the father to the women, female children who have inherited it. So those customs have been passed on from generation to generation. And it got to a point people begin to agitate that those customs should be tested. There's what we call the repugnancy test, where a custom, which is the way of life of the people, customary law, that holds sway, happens to be contrary to public policy, and good conscience. Those kind of laws will be said to be repugnant. So, and such laws can be struck down, especially when the laws runs counter to the provision of the Constitution. Our Constitution, Section 42, Section 2, provides that no one should be discriminated against by circumstances of birth or your sex, or your color, or your tribe, or your race, in whatever way. So, everyone should be treated equal. If you have a right to inheritance, you have a right to property, that right has no gender. It is not meant for only the male gender, and the female gender cannot inherit it. So if there's no discrimination, why would such culture be allowed to hold sway against the provision of the Constitution? Section 1, Section 3 of the Constitution is clear that should there be any law that runs counter to the provision of the Constitution, such a law, by reason of that inconsistency with the Constitution, shall be declared null and void. So by reason of that, there will be judicial intervention, where such laws, especially holding sway in the eastern part of Nigeria, have been struck down. That it's repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. So, in the base of that, one could boldly say that the custom is evolving, and people are getting used now to the direction of the law that your custom cannot run counter to the Constitution. No matter how you want to preserve it, you can't deny a female child inheritance to their father's property, or to any female inheritance to their spouse's property. There's instances they will not allow the spouse to even inherit from the husband. So just because you are a female. And it didn't went beyond that point, you even go to the police station, a female want to stand surety for an accused person. They tell you, you are a female, you cannot stand surety. You say so. So there's no discrimination by the Constitution, and that non-discriminatory provision of the Constitution should hold sway, should run across board. So there's no end, there's no limit to what a woman can do. Whatever a man can do, it's often said that a woman can do it, sometimes even better. So they have a right to inheritance under our law, and no custom to deny them such a right.
Well, good to know this, but a lot of persons still have this impression that, well, according to traditions, there is little or nothing they can do. And most times people are not really seeing opportunities to be helped in this regard, like in rural areas, for instance. What does the Nigerian law, bring in terms of providing such services for those who may not have the wherewithal to take such issues to court? Because it's one thing to know this, or it's one thing for this case to be established. It's another to seek a redress in court.
Yes, that's why you have the Citizens' Rights Department.
Okay.
Like what you have in Lagos, you have the Public Defender's Office of the Public Defender in Lagos. And the governor of Edo State mooted the idea to enact such a law in the state and establish such a body in the state, but somehow they didn't, see it through the process. The Office of the Public Defender, the job that they would have been doing is what the Citizens' Rights Department is trying to offer in a limited space. There's a limit to which they can do, because lawyers there are of the Ministry of Justice. You cannot wear double hat. You cannot be defending the government at the same time be defending the general public. Sometimes some of these laws, some of these cases that have been brought, the AG of Edo State could be made a party to those proceedings to make it binding. Especially if you're bringing an action against any institution of government. If it's also against individuals inter se, you still require a lawyer to defend them. So for these indigent persons, there should be an office of the public defender, that would render these legal services to them. In the absence of that, for now, the legal aid department is there. If it's still functional, where people can actually carry their complaint there, and they can have lawyers for free, to take care of that. Then beside that, we also have some pro bono services. Sometimes we run some pro bono services, for indigent members of the public to help them seek redress. Like you rightly said, it's one thing to know your right under the law. It's another thing to activate it, because your right is as dead, as those prints in the law book. You give life to it when you activate it. So you believe that it's a cause of action that has arisen, and you have a right to institute that action to claim damages. When we prepare to run through that whole course to ensure that you get justice. So because of fright, of intimidation by family members, lack of fund, paucity of fund, all that. So people just if that's the case, I leave it to God.
Yes, of course. That's
everything you leave to God. God has empowered you, has given you knowledge, has empowered you to do this fight. Yes, the Bible says that the Lord will fight for you and you will hold your peace. But they are machinery, they are human beings, they are the angels, they are people that God has placed on earth to help you actualize this. So the decision of government have placed organs, the court is there. So if this custom, anytime it comes up and it runs counter to your own interest, if you don't go to test it before the court, because all these decisions that the Supreme Court has churning out, especially against the customary practices in the eastern part, if they didn't have the courage to take it all the way to that point, there will not be such legal precedents. Now we have the judicial precedents now. Now that you have it, sometimes people still pretend as if they do not know that it exists. So you must still take it to court. There's a judicial precedent that XYZ should not be done. My family members are doing this to me. Please intervene. Okay. So you should always speak out.
But in cases where this must have happened long time ago, the property of the deceased father must have been taken, for years, and a lot of time has passed on. Does such a person, who is the victim in this case, a woman who is the victim, does she have right to seek for that, irrespective of the passage of time?
She does. The time does not run against matters of inheritance. Inheritance matters has no time limit. Just like for criminal prosecution, time does not run against crime. For criminal, if you commit a crime today, in the next 100 years, and people they open the books of that point and find that you have committed XYZ offense and you are still alive. Sometimes they can even try someone posthumously, and that this crime was committed. There's evidence to show that that crime was committed. That issue can be brought up and that person can be prosecuted for it. So time does not run against criminal prosecution. Time also does not run against issues of matters of inheritance. So if you have been disinherited by anyone, and that person is still holding sway to the property, you can take that matter up and ask the court to declare that you are the owner of that property by virtue of the fact that you are the direct offspring of the person, you know, who owns the property, and so you are entitled to inherit those properties. You should not go to some other person, so you cannot deny you that inheritance because you are a female.
Okay.
If that has been done, you can always seek that redress. As far as I have to do with inheritance, time does not run against it.
And you are sure of winning the case?
Very well.
Okay. No. I said that to say this because there's what they call, I don't know what people call it, but statute bar.
Of limitation, yes.
So how do you bring that in? Because
that's what I'm telling you now.
Statute bar.
Yes,
what are the cases where you can say this is statute bar?
Yes, that's why I particularly to issue of inheritance.
Okay, issue of inheritance.
Issue of inheritance.
Statute bar.
Yes, under our laws, the time does not run against it. It is still statute bar. You can always raise it anytime, any day.
Okay.
You can always raise it.
Okay.
Provided that you have not, you can also be considered to have waived your right in terms of estoppel. There are certain things you do, you surrender to it. They are given to you, you didn't protest about it, you surrender to it, to give people the impression that you are okay by whatever has happened. You know, meanwhile, under our laws, you cannot negotiate out of your constitutional right. So if you surrender to it, so it's arguable to say, well, you have slept on your right, you have surrendered to this matter, you are giving the impression that you are okay by it. It's arguable though, but okay, the authorities are there that you cannot negotiate, you know, out of your constitutional right. Constitutional right you have in the Constitution for the 2 sections or 2 of the Constitution is clear that you cannot be discriminated against on the basis of your birth or sex. So if by reason of that you are denied those property and you are entitled to that inheritance, you can always come to court and say, because I'm a woman, I was supposed to have inherited this property, they deny me this right of inheritance. I'm asking that the court should declare that I'm the actual person who's entitled to the inheritance of that property, and whoever is in possession now, the court should add that person to vacate.
Okay.
You know.
Thank you very much for this enlightenment. In case you're just joining us, it's Law and You, and I've been speaking with the legal practitioner, Matthias Obayuwana, on the topic inheritance rights of women under the Nigerian legal system. Now, let's look at the situation where there is a will. Yes.
Yes.
And in that will, it's different. Oh, no. In that will, it's removed the right of the woman to own any property by the man or by the woman. You know, in that case, what does the law do? Is the law silent?
Well, everyone who owns his property has the liberty to distribute it any way he desires.
Okay.
A will is like speaking from the dead. The man who is alive has made his wish in writing to say, when I die, XYZ property should go to ABC.
Okay.
And to no other.
So the law is silent on that.
So no, the law is not silent. That's the law, the will's law.
Okay,
that's the law. So when the man passes, that will now comes alive. That will does not come alive when the man is yet alive. So when the man is dead, then the voice is given to that will. When the will is read and the person who owns property saying that I want to give my property to ABC child, whether male or female, the fact that you are a female child and the man did not give it to you, you cannot complain that it's against you because you are a female child. It was his own will. He decided what he wanted to do. You know, but this issue can come up where the man died intestate, where there was no will made by him, and the family not trying to distribute his estate. And in the course of doing that, they're not okay, no, you are a woman, you cannot take this house. Or you are a woman, you can never take this land. Or you are a woman, you can never share at all in this property. We'll give it to a male child. If the man does not have any male child, okay, we call his younger brother to come and take his property. You cannot take because you are a woman. Then you can take the matter up. But if the man, your father or your husband has said for himself, has written a will,
yeah,
and he has said, I want to give my property to even to the orphanage, even to any person at all. So you cannot challenge that. So be it. The only way that will law can be challenged against our custom, especially with the Gilbert principle, where it is stated that only an elder, the oldest male child,
yes, I was going
inherit
the Gilbert. Yes.
You cannot read that out. You cannot by a will remove the Supreme Court has held severally that that is the custom of the Benin, you know, age-long custom of the Benin. You cannot by a will divest the eldest male child, you know, of his inheritance to that property. You cannot now give that property to some other person in a will. It must go to the eldest male child.
Okay, so you mean the laws of the Constitution, the provision of the Constitution, supports that customary
Very
law.
well.
Okay, but in that case, where the position of the Constitution does not support the customary law in the Igbo region, for instance, don't you think there is a discrimination on the part of the law?
Well, that's why it's always tested. This custom, they are tested, what they call the repugnancy test I mentioned earlier. Whenever an issue like this comes up, you can always take it before the law court. And the law court will apply the repugnancy test.
Okay.
Whatever that custom that people are espousing, whether that custom is repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience. So the facts will tell, okay, why did you make this law? What is the mystery behind it? Behind the Igbo principle, the mystery behind it is taken from the palace of the Oba of Benin. If you see the palace of the Oba of Benin, that's ancestral too. Every child, every male child, inherits the entire stool, the palace, everything is not shared. So when an Oba passes, the oldest male child becomes the next Oba. When he passes, his own eldest child becomes the male Oba, the next Oba. It does not move to another person. That's the Benin custom. In the same wise, when a Benin man dies, his oldest male child will take charge of his property. He cannot go to some other person because he takes the place of his father. Okay. So he moves like that. When he also passes, his own eldest male child will also inherit.
Okay.
The only area now is that nobody has questioned, because that issue may have come up severally, where a man actually has all female children. You are the father. You have a house that you lived in and died. That is your Igbo. But now you don't have a male child. You have all female children. So what happens in that circumstance? Will they allow the female child to inherit the Igbo, or will the Igbo now pass to the next man, the younger brother to the man in the family? These are issues that may come up. When such issue comes up and people are interested in challenging it, the repugnancy test will be applied to it.
So for now, there are no challenges in that regard.
I'm not have any challenge in that regard. So
which means the customary law still holds sway.
It's holding sway. That's why it's holding sway.
So it has not been tested.
Exactly. Every custom, it must be tested. If you feel aggrieved by the custom, the application of that custom to you, you must take it before a law court. It will be tested. That repugnancy test will be applied to it.
Because it's the judiciary that interprets
exactly, that interprets all of that. So look at it. This custom, is it good? Why was it made? Is it repugnant to natural justice, equity, and good conscience? What is it made to preserve? Is it really discriminatory? Has it affected someone in any way? Will it create an imbalance in the system?
Yeah.
So the law court will look at that. They will fashion our policies to ensure that the custom is preserved, and then people are also not so discriminated. So there must be a balance.
Okay, you just raised this issue of the Benin culture, the Idiogbe, for instance. And,
yes.
Let's look at this, because I know perhaps it hasn't been tested.
Yes.
Now, let's look at the situation where the woman is the first,
yes,
and followed by another woman, and then maybe later before you see the male child. Now, don't you think this is discriminatory? Because the woman may feel that, because I'm not a male,
yes,
this property or the Idiogbe, or what you call it, it's not being passed to me, but rather passed to my much younger brother. Don't you think this is a disparity that brings about gender inequality? That should be tested in court. It
can't be tested in court, but the court, otherwise, the court will the court will look at the mischief. We look at the mischief that tradition, that custom seeks to cure, and that mischief is to ensure continuity of the families too. What they call the uhure, whatever they are saying in ancestral home. It is the system, our customary system in Nigeria, in Edo, in Benin, is patrilineal and not matrilineal. So it's always from the father's side. So it's the maid that the Oba of Benin. Have you ever seen a female Oba of Benin?
I was going there.
So if the Oba of Benin moves, the next Oba, his eldest child, male child, becomes. There may be other female children older than him. If it's the oldest male child, he enters. So it's patrilineal. That's the same way the Benin people operate. So you may be the last born in the family and you are a male child. You inherit your Idiogbe. The only difference is that the eldest female child has a right of inheritance to any other property, but not the Idiogbe.
Okay.
So they are not disinherited completely.
This seems to hold sway for the Benins, for instance.
Yes.
The Benins say the customary law, the Benins seem to be the custodian.
Yes.
In this regard, because if we test other areas where...
the Igbos have tested theirs.
Yes, but
for the Igbos, they were abstractly disinherited. The Ishans are also, some areas in the Ishan land, they are also doing it. They allow the eldest male child to inherit everything. they expected that male child to distribute to the younger ones. But some of them are very greedy. They take all, they don't distribute. And they don't allow any family to share. Oh, the custom is that I am the oldest male child in this family as an Asian man. I take over the entire property of my father. If I like you, I give you. If I don't like you, I will not give you. It's at my own discretion. That is the way they operate. But ordinarily, if it, where people are being reasonable, if the custom say they put you in custody of the property of your father, for the patrimonial nature,
okay,
of the evolution, and then you're not okay. Fine, let me call my younger ones and give them. Don't be greedy. Some of them are greedy; they will not give, and they will not allow the family to intervene. They will tell you that the custom is that I should take all. But
actually, that's what the custom says.
That's what the custom says you should take.
So
and
if
the
you
custom
by your own voluntary,
exactly, the custom expects to be reasonable. Even under the Benin custom, when the male child takes the jogbe, it's not yours. It's the family property, but you are in control. If any child needs accommodation and cannot find, you should accommodate that child. Because as a father,
is it in the law? Is it in the custom?
That is the custom. Okay. Because the benefit, you are taking benefit and liability. You're not taking only benefit. Oh, I take the job, and then when your younger ones are in crisis, it's not your business. No, you are stepping into the shoes. By taking the job, you step into the shoes of your father. You are not the father of the family. So when they have any concerns, you should be there to address the issue. Okay. So you take benefit, you take liabilities. If they don't have any way to lay their head, you should allow them to come into the house. Yes, the house is yours. You are in control of it. Just like daddy owned the house, it was in control, but he didn't drive the children away. He gave them shelter. So you are stepping into your father's shoes to do that. Then some become greedy and say, "You are taking over now. I'm not in charge. Nobody should come near this property. Okay. I don't care about it." So you are going to get the custom.
What about in cases where the Idiogbe is sold or Igiogbe is sold?
It is wrong. That is why under the private property possession law, provisions are there that you cannot even sell the Idiogbe. Because people are doing it, it is wrong. Because
so it's passed from generation to generation.
Yes, from generation to generation. You cannot sell it. People, because so greedy, they sell it. They even say their father's graves in it. They will pack the bones and go and throw away, doing violence to the custom. That is not the essence of the Idiogbe. You cannot sell it. You cannot sell it. You have to have it to protect, to give shelter, and give ancestral home to every member of the family. You are stepping into your father's shoes. Have you ever seen the Oba of Benin? Have you ever heard that the palace of the Oba of Benin want to be sold, or they want to sell the palace?
That's not people.
Yes, that palace has been there for ages. You cannot sell it.
Yes. Okay.
In the same way, the custom of the Benin, we take our roots from the palace, So you cannot sell the Jogbe. You are the eldest male child. You are not in charge to give it comfort to the other children in the family. Don't drive them away there. If they need help, if they need shelter, give to them.
Okay, but in such cases, what about if the women in such cases, take this case to court? A situation where such is happening, being sold, and they take the cases to
challenge it.
Yeah, challenge it.
Yeah,
now, are there penalties for such breaches?
Yeah, there are penalties because if customary law are proved by facts, right? Okay, there's no the court cannot take judicial notice of it unless one that have been proven over time successively that the court of fine, we all know it is like the Gilbert principle now. They have tested this valid according to the Supreme Court. The courts have taken judicial notice. We talk about Benin man. Oh, we know the eldest male child is the Gilbert without much ado. But in this area where the other female children are being denied access to that same Gilbert which you have inherited, I cannot find a place to lay my head. I cannot find shelter. I cannot. I need help from you as the father of the home now. You're not rendering me any help. They can take you to court and claim damages against you. Okay. Because that is which you took. It is not only benefit to you. The liabilities goes with it because you are not our father. You are not stepping into your father's shoes. You must do your own. The only clause there is that it will be subject to good behavior. So because you cannot be rebelling against your father and expect him to give you shelter. So you must respect him as the father of the family. You must give him his due regards, so that when you also come for assistance, he will not deny you. If you are doing all that, you have shown good behavior and good conduct, and the man is here reasonably denying you, take him to court and you get a verdict against him. Yes.
Okay. Let's look at a case where there is polygamy, for instance, and there's this impression that there are different doors. Yes. And so the man has just one property or one Idiogbe.
Yes.
Is it how can you explain that case?
That is the position. Okay. Once an oldest male child has
irrespective
of whatever position you are in the family.
Okay, yeah.
Once you have performed the burial rites of your father, you automatically step into your father's shoes and you have inherited that Idiogbe. Okay. If your father has other properties, as the eldest male child, you will still be entitled to a share in that property outside of the Igiobe. Because the Igiobe which you have is not just yours, it's ancestral home.
Okay.
You are just in charge, managing it for the entire family.
Okay. Now, as a way of digression, who takes the property of the woman, of the mother, for instance?
Well, it is a custom. Our Benin
because
custom,
the women may say, well, yes, since the men
custom
are taking over that, then women should take over what belongs
our
to
Benin custom does not
to their
recognize
mother.
the woman as having an Igiobe.
Okay.
Because you get married. You get married to another man. That man that you get married to has his own. You are answering another person's name now. That person has his own Igiobe. So for the property of the female, a woman in the family, the mother is subject to sharing.
Okay.
And others may check and not say, I'm the sole owner of this property. It belongs to only me. No, they can share it. If it is one house, they can share 2 rooms to several property. But for a male, for the father of the home, that property goes to the male child only.
Thank you.
Cannot go to another child.
Thank you very much for taking our time to be part of this and throwing light fantastically in the whole of these issues that have been discussed. Well, a lot has been raised here, and I want to say do well to join us again on the next edition so that we do more on Law and You.